Since this map, Salzwiesen Park, dropped, we've been pretty hard on it trying to get a great one fox, so far without any results, but I do have a pretty good way of grinding for them and a very decent setup when it comes to getting as many kills an hour. And let me share some of my tips and tricks in this video. It is not all something that I figured out. Some of it comes from other people and even other creators as well. We're gonna try to make sure that everybody gets their credit, but let's just get into it. The good thing about grinding fox on Salzwiesen is that it kind of reminds you a little about how Nepal works with the home ranges. So this is also why you can see my map is completely barren on the right hand side and very hard covered in equipment on this little island. So we are doing the island method. This was something that was brought to my attention by one of you guys in my chat whenever we were streaming, and it is very simple. Because whatever you shoot on the island basically stays on the island whenever it comes to foxes. But you can't well, you can, but you shouldn't completely ignore the mainland. We're gonna try to go in depth. This might end up being a pretty long video, and I do hope that I get everything covered. I just quickly wanna throw out the names that I have heard mentioned here. The one that brought the island method to my attention was a viewer. After a little closer look into things in the official Discord, I figure out that I'm pretty sure a guy called Wani and Alex Deathwolf are the ones who pretty much figured most of the stuff out that we know about this. The main thing that differs with the fox compared to pretty much anything else that we hunt is that for the most part they spawn in pairs. Treat these pairs as a unit. A unit of two individuals, a male and a female, and if you only shoot one of them, that unit is still gonna be one unit and it's not gonna trigger a respawn of anything. So if you do want to get on with your fox grind, you need to be killing both males and females. Normally on the island we will have somewhere between 7 and 10 pairs drinking at the same time. When I started hunting the island, I was pretty fortunate to find out that I only had pairs on the island. You can have a female singles and male singles as well, but for the most part I have seen just pairs. But if you do end up finding a single female, I would advise you to try and shoot it if it's on the island, see if it comes back as a pair. If it comes back as a female, you want to try to swap it out for a pair or a single male from the mainland. This is done the same way as you would do if you did the 4-lake strategy with bears, trying to get your males into those zones and females out. So first off, you would shoot your single female down, let it be on the ground. Don't pick it up. Then you'd go over here and try to find one of your male foxes, which honestly, we're gonna show you a map where they can be. Find that, shoot him, leave him on the ground, exit to main menu. So it kind of triggers a respawn, and what you hope is happening in that moment is that the male is gonna go from here to here, and the female is gonna go from here to here. If it doesn't happen the first time, try it a few times. It should work. And with the setup I have set up here, I'm getting somewhere between 7 and 10 males per rotation whenever the respawns are working. I know it looks like a lot. It is a pretty expensive setup to set up as well, simply because we placed down a lot of items and they are not free. But once you have the money, it's a good grind for money as well. I mean, every fox is going to give you like $1,000 at least, even though I shoot them with the 300, unless it's a trophy I want to keep. If I am shooting it for the trophy itself, I will be using the 243 with polymer tip bullets. But one of the good things about this entire thing is it's not a very hard thing to set up. If you have a few tents and you have a few tripods, you can basically get off to a pretty good start. And as it's just the islands you're basically going to be focusing on, you are pretty early on in the process able to get going on a very frequent basis with getting your kills in. I would not completely ignore the entire side of things, because if you have big foxes over there, big males, you want to get those away. It doesn't matter if they're part of a pair or if they are solos. You do not want big foxes running around and counter weighing whatever you're doing over here on the island. For the most part, whenever I've seen a male fox that's not a 4 or 3 or 2, I have shot them and just let them dead. I've picked them up, but I've let them dead by not shooting the female in that. If you really wanted to herd manage even harder, I would probably pick them up and shoot the female as well. See whatever respawn you get, and then keep doing that until you eventually get down where you only have 3s and 4s on your main map. And over here, while you're doing that shooting down area over here, I would leave whatever legendaries, 8s and big 7s that you should have spawning on this area, simply just to add as counterweight, because the more big animals you have on the map, the more likely the game is to try to produce smaller animals to even out the balance of the overall levels of the animals. But a thing that I think we should also cover is just where can you expect to find zones on the mainland. Over here, every single zone you'll see except 2 is fox. So if you see this icon, it basically means that I have a fox drinking there. It probably used to be a pair, and then I shot one of them, and now it's a solo, and we don't get respawns. But in this area, I was pretty much told we're not gonna get any fox. We do. We have a red fox zone there, we have a red fox zone there, we have red fox zone up here. So my guess is we're gonna find more in this area. I just haven't really seen that mentioned by anyone else. But they are in the area. Don't dismiss it completely when you're out trying to figure out what kind of fox you have on your mainland. Over here, it's the same thing. We have up in the coast area. It goes all the way down the river as well, where we do have quite a bit of foxes. I have not found any in this part here, but I'm pretty sure it does seem like they should be able to. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to go for this little stretch of water as well as over here, you know. Then down here, again, we have more fox zones. So this area is also one that you should check. I found a fox down here. I never found the zone for him, but it would be a pretty weird place to not have drink zones as well, I would guess. I haven't seen anyone out here, which I can spot from this side, so I'm pretty confident that they don't drink on that side. Over here along this river, they do drink all the way up as well, and then we have this river where they seem to be drinking pretty much everywhere too. Down here, single fox zone as well. I did have one over here I shot away. That was a big solo male. Over here we had 2 pairs, shot the 2 males away, and we are now left with 2 females in that zone. And up here we also have a single drink zone. So pretty much all over the map. Haven't seen any in this little stretch, and I haven't seen any in this stretch, but pretty much everywhere else on the map. Now, let's get into the actual hunt of them. I'm using the 300 with soft point bullets to simply just make a giant hole whenever I do hit the fox, and with that they die very quickly. I do have the night vision scope on because I like to set my time till 1900 and then run the rotation. It takes roughly about an hour with me running around in game, of course, with me running around picking up for kills and such. I have a few of these tents being pickup tents, but they also serve as surveillance tents. But for the most part, I tend not to use them too much, but for a place like right here where I'm literally going to be shooting over the water, it is very nice to just be able to have the option to, you know, fast travel to the other side and then pick up whatever lays where. There is also a new feature that I haven't seen many people mention, but it is a horrendous one in terms of sometimes losing your trophies. They changed the way that animals float in the water. Back in the days, whenever you shot something in the water, it would literally just float directly towards you. So if I shot something over there, it would flow directly towards me and land there. It doesn't work like that anymore. So if you have something that drops in the water, it's gonna flow directly towards you until the point it hits land. If there is anywhere else that is closer to you, to the bit of water that it is in, it's gonna float towards that, which also means that first time I shot something that ran into this water and died, I spent a long time running around over here trying to figure out where the hell did my fox go. And it actually turned out it was on its way from here to here and all the way down around here, where it then ended up behind my tent. This is a new feature. I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere, and just be aware, as soon as it goes around something like this, had I shot it from over here, it would take the direct approach as soon as it cut this corner, and then it would go there. So in this entire stretch here, I wouldn't be able to reach my harvest. I feel like this is a really bad change in terms of many things, because why can't we just have the whenever something falls in the water, just have it float to the nearest bank. That makes the most sense in my world, but now you are aware, because this could potentially end up costing you quite a few trophies if you're not keeping an eye on them, immediately going and picking them up, or just not really paying attention to what's going on. You'll sometimes find your trophies floating off. Anyways, let's get back to the actual setup. Down there, you can see we now have a new respawn. I did finish a rotation before we started recording for this. The way that I've set up my island is basically I can overlook everything from my tents and tripods, and then I have random tripods scattered on the beach. If I do go and pick up, well, when I do go and pick up my foxes, I pick up both males and female, then I'll jump up in these and spot further ahead just to make sure I don't accidentally fast travel spook anything, because with the changes to fast traveling, you're going to be spooking everything within 180 meters or about that whenever you fast travel. But let's take a quick look at of what is going on. You saw from over here, I am overlooking this entire side of the bank. They don't spawn down here, so from this place I can see everything from this tripod, and that makes me, whenever I jump up in this tripod, I'm in here, I basically be able to see this stretch there. I do have this one that I go and check occasionally just to make sure that I haven't missed something, because they have a tendency of doing a little hidey hide up here. So sometimes I'll jump in this one and just make sure where I can then spot everything. But from this tripod, you can see I can look all the way down somewhere here. I do have a pickup tent over there, which I do use whenever I shoot stuff. I do have a tripod with it, so I can look what should be down in this area. Before I fast travel up to this tent where we are looking now, we just spotted these down here. But the good thing about this setup, I can also fast travel here, and I'll probably be able to see them from here. So what is very important is just that you continuously overlap between your tents and tripods, and then you should be pretty sure that you're not going to be missing out on a whole lot of respawns and such. I don't have like my tents right next to my tripods all the time, because sometimes we're a little too close to the water. So whenever I fast travel to them, if my tent had been here and I would have a fox drinking down here, they would be spooked from the fast travel. What's that? That's a fox down there somewhere. Doesn't seem like it's actually reached its zone, but doesn't matter. We wanted to take a look, and these are the two foxes that we spotted from the other side. And this is the whole idea about my setup. I am using the high ground to scout the beach. Down here, you'd be able to look all the way to somewhere there. And with that, obviously, you can see that from this tripod and tent setup. I'm doing somewhere between 25 and 30 males an hour when the respawns are working great. Down there, it's another of the pickup tents, because these zones right here quite often have foxes there. So I figured, why not place one there? And down here we run into the problem again. We're a little too close to the beach whenever we fast travel there, but we can simply fast travel here first, check out this area to see if there should be anything before we get down, jump up in this, and then overlook all the way down to here-ish. And then at the very south we have another setup where there is a zone right here, but you will be able to spot all the way up there and all this way up here, where there can also be foxes. And then we're back on the other side, on the right hand side. Over here we're doing the same thing, overlooking whatever down to there, and up here up to here where you will find foxes. Another pickup tent to just not have to traverse the water all the time. There we have a setup overlooking this lake right here, which I missed often the first few times. I wasn't aware that they could actually drink there. But do that, set your time to around 1845, 1900, and just fast travel from one place to the other. If you don't have tents and tripods for the entire setup, don't worry about it. Focus on getting the tents first. But yeah, I think that's pretty much what I do. You know, have good overlook, have good setup that just makes you able to spot as much of the island as possible, and just focus on this place. I just spooked a tiny guy over there that was hanging out in that zone. And again, we can overlook everything down to here. So far on the grind, I have killed 356 fox, and in that we have gotten 8 legendaries, where 2 of them were trolls. So diamond rate has been pretty good. However, I have seen it drop quite a little bit after we started going a little harder on the mainland foxes. So I think what I need to go back and do to even optimize for more legendaries would be go back and shoot a few of the females in the zones where I know I have females, and then have pairs spawn back. Try to find those pairs, see if the male has gotten bigger or smaller. Hopefully they get smaller. Whenever they then get down to level 4, 3, 2, I'll leave them. You can do the same with the females as well. Like if you have a level, I've seen level 7 and 8 females, I think is the max one. You don't want those on the island or on the map either. I'm not sure if they have any direct correlation to you getting great ones or getting diamonds, but having those big females I don't think helps anything. So in terms of getting those down, I would also shoot those and just try to make sure to keep track of it. As said, there is, whenever you shoot a fox, it does seem to stay somewhat in the area of where you're shooting them. Again, it seems to have something to do with the way that tigers worked on Nepal, where they are bound to different home ranges. So whenever you shot a tiger in one home range, you could be guaranteed that tiger was going to be respawning in the same home range somewhere. But if you do commit to go and shoot down your animals over here to lower levels, just be aware that if you end up picking up female solos, zones and such, I wouldn't go and shoot the island down at the same time, simply because you risk then swapping them around and you'll have to deal with swapping them back afterwards. I hope this video made sense. This is just what made most sense in terms of getting everything covered. And yeah, I hope this gives you an idea of what I do, and hopefully eventually I'll have a great one fox to show for it. And if not, I hope you guys have some to show.